Hi everyone, Angela here. Do you have a fear of using the buttonhole attachment, or you just don't like the look of buttonholes? In this video, I'll show you how to make buttonholes in a seam and 3 different ways I use it. This button I'm using measures just under 1/2 inch in diameter. I'm cutting 2 strips of fabric along the lengthwise grain 4 times as wide as the button, so they're each 2 inches wide. You can decide how wide you'd like to make them. I'm also adding a very lightweight woven interfacing. I'm only cutting out half the width of the fabric, which is 1 inch. With the glue side down, center it onto the wrong side of the fabric and press. Fold one of the strips in half, matching the outer edges, and press. Open up and flatten out a bit. I'm just going to mark the center crease so you can see. This will be your stitch line. Next, mark out the center for each button placement. Center your button on that mark and then mark just beside each edge. We won't be stitching between these outer marks. Mark about 1/4 inch from the bottom where we'll finish the stitching. Put right sides together and pin if you need to. For each buttonhole, stitch along the line, stop at the first mark, reverse a couple of stitches, stitch to the mark again, and then reverse a couple of stitches again. Skip over the buttonhole, but instead of starting from this mark, go a bit past it, reverse up to the mark, go forward a couple of stitches, reverse back up to the mark, and continue stitching along the line. By having 2 stitches on each end of the buttonhole, it'll make the opening a little bit stronger. Using a shorter stitch length, stitch as I've just shown, starting with a back tack at the top and finishing with a back tack at the mark on the bottom. If you're finding this video helpful, make sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on all notifications, and leave a comment below. You can also find links for my patterns and the tools that I use down in the description below. I first press to remove the heat erasable ink, then open up and fold in half and press down the center. Fold and match each edge to the center and press. On the end with the opening, fold up each side straight across and in half again. Tuck in the fabric neatly, making it as straight as possible, and press. Open up again and put in the piece that needs the buttonholes. Line up the edge right into that center fold and tuck in the bottom so that it's nice and even. Pin through all the layers to hold in place and clip the outer edges. Stitch the layers together close to the edge, and at the bottom use a pin or something pointy to push in the ends. Repeat on the other side. This is also one way of creating a strap by sewing up both sides. Here's another way you can make straps. Add interfacing to half of the fabric along one edge. Fold each piece lengthwise in half, press, then open up, fold the outer edges to the center, and press again. This crease here will be the stitch line. Mark your buttonholes, then put right sides together and clip if you need to. Stitch down the seams, skipping over the buttonholes, back tacking at the start and finish. On the end that you want closed, stitch along the crease on the other side, down about 1 inch. Separate the fabric and fold so that the seams are in the center. Stitch across 1/4 inch from the edge. Carefully trim the corners, turn right side out, then use a point turner or a knitting needle to push the corners out. Adjust the folds so that they meet in the center and press. Edge stitch down each side and pivot around at the bottom. To make the buttonholes even stronger, we'll just stitch back and forth across each end. Of course, you can use your zigzag stitch to do this, and why not use a contrasting color for a bit of fun? There should only be a very slight split on the back, and the front is nice and neat. The next method is great to use in cushion or pillow covers and also quilt covers. Fold and press in about 1/2 inch along each edge. This time I'm not adding interfacing. Mark your buttonholes along the top crease. Place on top of your fabric with right sides together, matching the edges, and clip if you need to. Stitch just like before, then open up and press the seam flat. Fold up the outer edge of the band so that it lines up with the seam and press. Fold the seam allowance on the other side in half and press. Carefully edge stitch both seams, making sure not to twist the band, and press. If you want, you can edge stitch all along the other side of the buttonholes. Let me know down in the comments if this method takes away a little bit of your fear of buttonholes. Make sure to have a look at some of my other videos. Thanks again for watching, take care, and happy sewing!